Mind the Easter egg.
Hello, welcome to episode 98 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name's John Denton. With me, as always, Chet Roivas.
Hello.
Surely you know the deal by now. 2 top 10 lists, 10 being the game we've been playing the least this week, 1 being the game we've been playing the most. Go back and forth, starting now with Chet's number 10.
Okay, all right, my number 10 is Nanaca Crash on... it's a Flash game. I played it in a browser. Did you play this?
No.
Okay, it was a listener recommendation.
Okay.
It reminded me of 2 things. Baby Maker Extreme 2, which is an XSplit game made by Daniel Steger, who made Bank Your Friends, and one of the mini-games in Bishi Bashi Special.
Oh, which one?
Okay, it's in a church.
The church?
I can't remember either a bride throws a bouquet or you're the husband and you're wheeling your bride in a wheelchair and you fling her. It's one of the 2.
Yeah, I can picture both of those things happening.
Yes, that's what I mean. I don't know which one it was. Anyway, it's exactly the same concept. You have 2 clicks. In Nanaca Crash, you're a female bicyclist who hits a pedestrian. You click once. Basically, a needle pings back and forth between 0 and 90 degrees. You click it once and it determines the trajectory of the guy who's going to fly off. And then you click it again, it throbs. And when you click the second time, it determines how hard you hit them. And you just send them flying down the street. And you have to try and get the furthest, the further they go, the better, the higher your score. But there are obstacles to bounce into. So like Baby Maker Extreme 2, some of them speed you up again, some of them give you extra bounce, and some of them just stop you dead. So it's there's luck involved as well. But it's terribly addictive. A perfect time waster for however long. It takes 15 seconds.
How do you spell it?
Nanaca, Nanaca Crash.
Okay.
It's on a Japanese website, so that part's in English. If you search Nanaca Crash... I meant to write down what my high score was, but I can't remember. But yeah, it's definitely it's fine.
Yeah, that sounds all right. Okay, my number 10 is Rogue Legacy on the PC. I really want to like this game, and I've tried to get back into it again, but there's just something about it that's putting me off. And you know what this game is, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about it I can't get into. It's extremely difficult. Which, I mean, it's one of those games that people say, "Oh, it's not that difficult." Once you I don't know why people say that when games clearly are difficult after they've played them for 60 hours. That just means you got good at it. That's why it's not difficult anymore. Anyway, it's almost impenetrably difficult. Whereas Spelunky, I always felt, I mean, I'm no master at Spelunky by any stretch, but I always feel every single time I play it, I'm getting a bit better, I'm getting a bit wiser. Less so in Rogue Legacy. Most of the time I'm just trying to, I guess that's the point, randomly bash together enough money and to go and buy something else and then start up again. But you get offered 3 different build types every time you go in. And 1, I don't really know what's going to be good from the descriptions anyway. And 2, I don't know, because it just seems like the dice is being rolled a little bit too much. People swear by this game, but I thought I'd love it. But it's just not grabbing me in the way that I thought it was. I like everything about it. I like the concept. I like the style. I like the music. But yeah, it's just not doing it for me, unfortunately. But I'll continue to give it another go, and I think I'll probably have more fun with it on Vita on PlayStation when it does come out there.
Oh, so I was just about to ask. For some reason, I thought I'd read that it was coming to iOS.
I wouldn't have thought so. It definitely needs controls.
Okay, because it's just such a shit title. I probably get that mixed up with innumerable different other things.
Yeah, it is a terrible title, but as I said before, perfectly suits the game because it makes total sense. But yeah, it's a very forgettable one.
For reals. All right. Okay, my number 9 is also incredibly forgettable. It's a game called Downgate Deathmatch, which is the latest Xbox Live indie game. There are still people chucking the odd game up there, so
good on them.
Good for them. I feel bad for them though, because I mean, the last year has just seen that sort of audience deteriorate with Microsoft you can't have shrapnel in your account, so because you didn't have them leftover Microsoft points. But anyway, Downgate Deathmatch is the most recent one. The main screen says Downgate Exodrone Wars, and that is always a good sign when the title on the marketplace is different from the one on the menu. You know you're in for a cracker. But yeah, you pick. It's relatively flash. You pick your name, you enter your name, and then you pick a class, and there's engineer and infantry and a couple of lock like recon, and then you choose from one of two maps, and it's an arena deathmatch game. What a surprise! It literally looks as if it was made in Minecraft, although it's very red. Also, the people who made it made Xenominer, which is a really popular XBlig Minecraft clone. But yeah, your mechs, you run around shooting other mechs. A gruff robot voice says things like "devastating," or you know those voices like Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, I know those voices. Halo,
yeah. But the only good thing about it is that, first of all, it's destructible. I mean, everything destroys like Minecraft, so blocks just vanish. But you can blow holes in the ground with a rocket launcher, and enemies fall in. And you can fly a little bit, so it's a little bit more exciting than I suppose you'd expect. What made me think, what interested me was that if I made a game like this and put it on XBlig and expected people to buy it, and there's an advert on the cover saying online multiplayer. If I was responsible for the game, I'd just sit in the lobby all day on the off chance someone bought it so they had someone to play with. Because needless to say, I only played the trial, so I don't know if there's anyone playing it. But is there anyone playing it? Of course not.
You played it.
I did, but I could only play against bots.
Oh, okay.
If someone bought it because they wanted to play multiplayer and sort of envisaged jumping into a lobby or something, I just feel guilty if I made the game. I'd be like, I'd have to just sit in there all day and like never see my family, etc. Lose my life sitting there waiting.
Maybe that's why they don't do it.
Yeah, that's good point. Good point.
Talking of family, number 9 is a family game. Well, it's not a family game; it's a kids' game on the iPad. It's called Dinosaur Games, and it's really good. Like Elliot, my boy, plays tons of games on the iPad, and I'm constantly impressed by both how amazingly good he is at using the thing and has been since he was fucking tiny, and he's still very small, but also how competent a lot of these games are. A lot of them are really well made. This is just a bunch of very simple dinosaur games. Obviously, in a busier time of year, this probably wouldn't make it into the list, but I thought it was worth highlighting as a decent game. You pick a different dinosaur and it has a bunch of games around them, so there's some where you have to match up the different parts of the skeleton. You just drag them in, like you've got an outline of a dinosaur and you drag in like the rib cage and the head and whatever, and then it's like a very, very simple jigsaw. And there's stuff where like a pterodactyl flying, you have to press left and right of the screen to dodge stuff, and stuff where it teaches you numbers and shit, and it's just really good. There's a lot of those games that are free and they're covered in adverts that the kids press, and then they end up in the App Store, and I'm amazed there hasn't been more of a fuss kicked up about that sort of stuff, because it's pretty fucking nasty when they're clearly aimed at 2 to 3 year olds. But this, this was a genuinely decent sort, and that's about it. I'm not going to play it, but it's amazing watching a little kiddie on an iPad. Really, it's absolutely nuts.
Yeah. Have you seen that advert for that device? Is it Amazon or something where you tap it and then a little face pops up and it's a real person in the call centre going, "Hey, I help you." Surely there's going to be like iPad people, like when no one's around, they'll be like, "Oi, kid, go get the wallet. Give us the number on that card there." I don't know what I'm talking about.
You mean the people working in the window?
No, yeah, but I mean, if that technology exists, surely some unscrupulous fuck will be using it, and he'll be like, he'll tie it to a kid's app and just appear in the corner of the door, telling them to go and get the credit card or whatever. Never mind, forget I said it. Anyway, my number 8 is Resogun on the PlayStation 4. Oh, yeah. I think I like the fact that it's always going to be on my dashboard, but I think I've pretty much lost all desire to keep investigating it. I really just don't dig it. I don't think. And I don't think there's any coincidence that I've heard so many times from friends of mine and from people on podcasts saying almost exactly the same thing. I love this game, and I don't even really like shooters. And I love shooters. I love shooters more than anything else. And I just the central systems, they don't grab me. I mean, you have to use your overdrive, use your boost, use your bombs, and I just want to dance around in the chaos a little bit, not constantly avert it. It seems like it doesn't really feel like a shooter. I mean,
no,
Yeah, there are similar power-up systems in cave games, but you can only use them when you're really suffocated. They're like a last-ditch.
Yeah.
The skill is in making sure that you either don't use them at all or use them at the very last second. You have to be very clever about it. I mean, when I played it this time a few nights ago, I smashed my high score by a few million. I think I had 6 or 7 million, which it's definitely not a lot in the grand scheme, but it's more than the 4 that I had before, 4 or 5 million. So it was the best game I'd ever had on it, but I just find it kind of sterile and really unexciting. I have tried, and I will. Like I said, I like the fact that it's always going to be there just to jump into for 10 minutes. But it might as well be in another language or something.
Yeah, I think if you try and play that game as a normal, not normal shooter is the wrong choice of words, but I think if you try and play it as you want to play it, it's not going to do it for you. It's a game to be played in a kind of specific way.
Yeah, I have it. I feel like I was starting to adapt to that, but I didn't find it particularly exciting.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like the music. I don't like the way it looks. Something about it kind of rubs me up the wrong way. Anyway. It's exactly the same as the Grasshopper.
Cinemura.
Cinemura. It's the same. It's just slightly off kilter in a way that means I don't understand.
If you don't like it, you don't like it.
For real.
What do you do? Yeah, it pretty much grabbed me straight away.
Yeah.
But it's not that I dislike shooters. It's just I'm not very good at them.
All right.
All right, my number 8 is a game called Tabletop Racing on my phone, on my Android phone. I'm pretty sure it's out on iOS as well. This is... I thought it was going to be more like micro machines. The environments are like micro machines, but it's actually just a really simple kart racer where you play as like little ice cream trucks and shit, racing on tabletops. It doesn't really have the charm of micro machines. Everything looks a bit sterile. It looks very nice. It's very high resolution 3D graphics, nicely rendered. I mean, it really is getting to the point where that phone in my hand does seem as powerful as the 360, certainly in terms of just the raw images that you can look at through it. But the game itself is just a bit wet. To hold left or right on the screen, you can steer. There are power-ups, little boxes that you can smash. There's different modes. There's one where you have to overtake an opponent. There's time trials, and then there's races where you can blow up boxes and get little bombs and stuff. Nothing you haven't seen before. It's fine. It's free as well, and in the relatively short amount of time that I played, it wasn't too offensive in terms of asking me for cash. But do you know what it feels like? And it's probably going to sound a bit snobbish. But I don't know if you know, everyone's got friends who don't really play many games, but they probably play some games on their phone, and they'll show you a game like this, and they'll be raving about it because they love it. It's they find it really fun, and they show you it, and you're just like, yeah, that looks really good. But ultimately it's shit. This to me feels like one of those games. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. I'm sure plenty of people are going to be enjoying it a lot. But those people haven't played hours and hours of Mario Kart and hours of every other kart racer and Wipeout game and everything else like that. And nor should they have to. All power to them. But I'm not going to play it anymore.
Okay. How did you come across it?
I was just, I don't know. I think I'd heard it mentioned somewhere, maybe a press release, or the name just stuck out in my mind. And then it was on the main page of the Android thing when I looked on the Google Play Store, whatever the hell you call it. I don't know. I was on holiday this week. It was all a bit confusing.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll have a look if it's free, just for the fuck of it. It is very weird that there isn't a modern sort of. There is no equivalent of micro machines. Yeah. They're still very strange.
I know.
Okay. Oh God, my number 7. My number 7 is a game called Move It! ! I don't even know about this. This made me feel very weird. My girlfriend is reviewing and sort of playing with a Doro phone. Have you ever heard of Doro?
Doro, no.
They make phones for old people, and they do phones for blind and deaf people as well. They're sort of simplified handsets. They're quite powerful. I mean, they run on Android, but they've got big. But the one that she had was for old people, and it had big buttons, and everything was just heavily simplified.
Okay.
And it had a game on there called Move It. So I thought, I've got to try that. And the logo, it looked like Tetris. It had Tetris shapes and I thought, okay, it's going to be a Tetris clone. I started it, and the most nauseating music I've ever heard in my life started. I mean, it's really hard to describe because I felt like I was being serenaded by like a mandolin man in an empty restaurant in Spain or something, because it was a terrible recording. It sounded like it was recorded on like a 1980s dictaphone. Just a guy playing a mandolin. I mean, there's just that, and it was just. I felt like I was in the room with somebody. I was like, "Oh, this is really, really quite unpleasant." And it's the only music in the whole game. It just keeps on playing, and it instantly made me uncomfortable. It sounded like it was like a cover of the soundtrack to an old English sitcom that your parents used to like, because it was like all cutting edge and risque, but there was jokes about tampons in it, and you were too young and you didn't like it. Honestly, I was just sitting there going, grimacing, trying to play this game. Anyway, Tetris blocks are in this screen, and you have to move them around a confined space. And the biggest square you have to get from A to B. It's very much like those hellish sliding puzzles we spoke about many times, where one piece is missing.
Yeah.
So there's a confined space. You can only move things a certain amount of space. I mean, it's horrible. There's about 5 or 6 different difficulty settings, and they're all exactly the same. Like I tried ultra easy, can do it. I went to hard, can do it. They're all hard. It's just that it's not made for me. Obviously, it isn't. All the while, this music, I was just like, what is this? It's like it's trying to remind your mum of like a past sexual indiscretion she had. It's like trying to... Honestly, I wanted to yip all over my this phone. It was an invitation into a world I didn't want any part of. It's so weird because I think back and I'm just like, oh, I remember that day when I tried that phone and there was some weird, sinister man playing music. I don't know. Move it. Don't play it. It's rubbish.
I want to play it now.
No, you don't.
Dora the Explorer phone or whatever. I don't know how to get that.
Doro.
All right. Quite a contrast then to my number 7, which is a game I played on the plane. It's Hotline Miami again. Sorry for talking about it for the 7,000th time, but it made me think I can put that game on and just pick a random level and just play it. And I can't remember many modern games, not that this isn't a modern game, but many big recent games that I've been able to do that with and just enjoy it for what it is. I can pick any level in Hotline Miami and just play it, and it's tremendous fun. You can just experiment trying to go through it in different ways, trying to do it in outlandish ways, and it's just so much fun every single time.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's not even that it necessarily has incredible depth because I'm not playing it in new ways or anything like that. Anyway, I was trying to think, have there been any big games that have really done that recently? And I used to do that with the first Halo, but that's old now. And apart from that, I can't really think of a game that I just pick a level and just play it just because it's fun to do that. So,
Trials?
Trials, yeah, I guess so. But I'd say that almost fits more in with the game like Hotline Miami than a big game. I'm talking about a big...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like a big game.
Yeah, I suppose it's kind of... Yeah, I mean, the games that are sort of were still... vaguely influenced by GoldenEye, because I mean Halo still had that kind of level structure. The Time Splitters games obviously did, but yeah, that whole pick a level. Yeah, I can't think of anything. And
games these days, the big games they're so kind of entranced with the idea of being Uncharted, whatever genre they're in. So many of them are that there's no real way of. I mean that sort of stuff isn't massively replayable. Certainly in sections. Especially when so much is focused on spectacle rather than systems. Not necessarily a huge problem in any respect. It just, I was thinking to myself, if this was what the Vita was supposed to be originally and everything on here was big games, there wouldn't be any game that I'd be able to do this with, because I don't want to start it again from the beginning. I have no intention of playing all the way through Hotline Miami again, but I will always have it on there just to be able to do that, or until the second one comes out anyway. No, it's just awesome. And if you haven't played it yet, seriously. It's always about 4p on PC.
Yeah, although it is fantastic on the Vita.
It is, yeah. That is the best place to play it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I still haven't finished it, and it's great that it's always. I always have it. It's really great. Okay, my number 6 is Surgeon Simulator 2013.
I went back to it.
Yeah, I won't speak very long about it. Stuart, one of a long-term listener, got in touch and said, because I said the reason I couldn't play it is because Macs don't have a right click. And he got in touch and said, you can enable right-click in the mouse preferences. And I was like, all right, I'm never going to say anything about PCs or Macs or anything, because the 2 times I've said something about them, I've been wrong. So I just need to shut up about that stuff. But yeah, I was amazed. I didn't know you could do that. You just literally go into the mouse preferences and you enable right-click on the mouse that I had already. I didn't need to buy a new mouse or anything. I was like, wow. Okay.
I think I actually knew that, but...
I had no idea. I mean, to be honest, I there's no need, if you have a Mac, there's no reason to have right-click unless you're playing this game. But anyway... I do also, I think it's quite odd that Google came up empty when I searched repeatedly, extensively for a solution last week. It came up with those posts from the makers saying, "Oh yeah, well maybe submit it as a bug report." So it's weird that Google didn't find anything. Anyway, I started playing it again. It's still funny, but I didn't realise this at the time. But is it completely impossible? I mean, that's the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
The odds are insurmountable. I mean, there's scissors on the table. How the fuck are you meant to pick up a pair of scissors?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. Yeah, it is. I haven't played it enough, but
yeah, I did. That didn't quite strike. I mean, that's why it's funny. I mean, that's why it's been such a massive hit on YouTube. I will say though that it kind of needs an audience. I wanted to be in a room, maybe do time trials, take it in turns, because it is truly amusing. I mean, but so difficult. I mean, I dare say real surgery is probably easier than playing this, because I'm picking up tools is fucking difficult enough. I do like it, and there are friends. The next time a couple of friends of mine are around, I'm going to show it to them. But yeah, I mean, I like it. Yeah, but I don't know.
It came out of a game jam, didn't it, originally?
Is that right?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I can't remember exactly which one, but yeah. And then there was a free version of it on like in the browser, I think, where you just had the one level, and then they released it as a full product. But I quite fancy playing a proper surgery game that's somewhere in between. I know there's Trauma Center, but that had a lot of talking in it.
Has it? No, the Trauma Center games are really good. The Wii one especially was great.
I only played the first DS one. It was good, but it was just too Japanese for me. Sometimes I just can't be bothered with fucking nurses that look like, I don't know, a pedo's dream chatting about some bollocks. I can't deal with it. But yeah, just a good surgery game where I could really hack someone right up. All right, my number 6 is a game called Flappy Bird. This is on the iPhone. This is a big game at the moment. You laugh, but this is the number 1 free game on iOS at the moment.
What?
Everybody's all about this game. It's pretty shit. It's really simple. You play as a little pixely bird, and he's falling down. Basically, you're moving left to right, and you tap the screen to make him flap and move up a little bit, and you have to get him through these Mario pipes. They are Mario pipes. One's coming from the top of the screen, one's coming from the bottom of the screen. There's a little gap. Every time you get through one of those gaps, you get a point. That's the game. It's really simple, but it's really fucking hard. It took me ages to get more than 1 point, and then I finally managed to get 13 or something like that. And it's just one of those stupid games that's very addictive. And if you get into a school battle with someone, forget about the next couple of days, because that's all you're going to be doing. It's free. It didn't bother me with any money. I don't really know why it exists, but everybody seems to love it all of a sudden.
To be honest, the big selling and the biggest most popular downloaded iOS games it's gone so far that now most of the successes are quite inexplicable, because almost everything brilliant's been done, or so it feels like anyway. So that you just end up seeing things that are reheated. Had you played a variant of it before?
It controls like that pick-up game that PopCamp did. I've played other games with that mechanic, like one with a bee that... it's falling down. You press the button and it buzzes up. I mean, everybody's played this before in some stuff, but never this hard. And I think that's why it becomes addictive, because you think, I mean, am I really going to talk any more about this stupid game?
No, I suppose not. But it is interesting, because some of the games that appear to be massive smash successes, and you just think, there must be 10 studios going, we did that game exactly last month and couldn't even get 2 people to download it.
Almost certainly. But it seems to be, if you're rolling with a dice with less numbers on, if you put bird in the title, it seems. And then,
yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, and then just whatever comes next. Put some Mario pipes in there, fucking millionaires, except it's free, so who knows.
Floaty birds?
Flappy Bird.
Flappy birds, okay. Sounds shite.
It's not. It's perfectly fine. And it costs no pounds.
I mean, it sounds like something I don't want to play. That's what I meant.
Okay.
That's what I should have said. Okay, my number 5 is a game called War Thunder on PlayStation 4. This is another listener recommendation, and it is free to play on PS4. Have you tried it?
I've actually played this on the Oculus Rift. This was the game I played on the Oculus Rift, but I didn't realise what it was until later.
How was it? I think I remember.
The game was. I mean, I didn't really play the game. It was just happened to be the game I was inside. My Oculus experience wasn't quite what I was hoping it would be, but it still makes me want one. But yeah, I just wanted to. The reason it wasn't the experience wasn't what I wanted it to be, I think, is because I was playing War Thunder, but I've no idea what it's actually like to play.
Oh, and someone was standing behind you chatting up.
Oh yeah, that's right. The two helpers were trying to flirt. Oh.
Yeah.
People.
Great days. All right, but anyway, yeah. I mean, I started playing this, downloaded it. It's free. It's made by a company called Gaijin, Gaijin, and Gaijin. Sorry, but as soon as I saw their logo, I was like, I've heard of them. I'm pretty sure I've played games they've made, and I haven't. I haven't played a single game they've made, so I don't know what that's about. But I looked them up. They're a very prolific Russian developer, and they make primarily war-themed games on all platforms, but primarily iOS and PC. Their website is brilliant. I mean, their website is just brilliant. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm having a go at anyone, but the text on their website is priceless. I mean, truly gut-bustingly funny, because it's quite badly translated into English, and then someone's clearly thought it would be a good idea to sort of maybe use a thesaurus. So to try and needlessly complicate sentences. Some of the it's almost poetically shit. So it's worth checking out their website, Gaijin, just to read some of the stuff. It's lost in translation. It's been modified. It's worth looking
on that on the Gaijin tip. The reason that you know that name is because Gaijin Games make the Bit Trip games, but Gaijin Entertainment make.
That's a different company.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's probably where it is. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, check out their website. It's very amusing. You sign in with an email address and a password, but it's a beta. I mean, this is like. That shooter you talked about, the free shooter on PS4.
Blacklight or Warframe?
Blacklight. No, it said when you log into that, it says that it's still in beta. Yeah. Is that just going to stay there for good now?
I think that's often the case. Yeah, I don't really know how all this bollocks works.
No, me neither. But yeah, it says it's a beta anyway. But there's loads of, it'll tell you to close your browser. It keeps making references to your cursor, and the menus are tiny, the text is tiny, and there's loads of PC talk. So it's not, console is not its natural home really. And also during the game, if you press L2 when you're in the menus, there's a little text chat box, so people talk and say, go fuck your mother and stuff, which is literally what people were saying to each other when I went in there. But I also observed a chat about how, because in the game it's a flight, it's like an action sort of, you're flying warplanes. And you're shooting the opposite team and shooting the ground troops as well. As I was looking at this text chat, and because I only had 2 planes in my hangar, and once they got shot down, you just had to spectate. And these guys in this chat room were saying that obviously it involved money if you wanted to speed up the researching process or whatever it was called. So yeah, it's very much a free-to-play game. You die a couple of times and then they ask you for money. At the bottom of the scoreboard as well, at the end, it says, here's your score and here's what you would have earned if you had paid to be a premium member. But yeah, the game itself is actually really fun. It's the first game I had was great. I mean, it's a plane game, but it's not a sim. It's the planes kind of control how they do in Grand Theft Auto. So I find them quite awkward. It's you control it completely with the left thumbstick,
right,
and the cameras with the right. And as somebody who's played a lot of Battlefield, I always just think, well, surely it's better to use both rather than just one. But once you get used to it, it's perfectly fine. You're attacking enemies in the air and on the ground, and it's really good fun. The primary system is like a little cursor will come up that shows you where they're going to be by the time your bullets reach them. So you're always aiming for that rather than the plane you're following. And all of there's no AI, it's all other people. So yeah, it was fun. So I had a second game, and it looked amazing. It's set in Africa, the level, and it's photorealistic. I mean, it was just trees and rock, but as I was flying above it, I was like, wow, this looks like I'm actually, flying over a photograph or something. It looked amazing. But during that game, I had no HUD. I couldn't see where the enemies were. I didn't know what I was attacking. Nothing. So basically, it glitched out. Yeah. So I had to quit. But I played it for, the first game was the best part of half an hour. And to be honest, if you have a PS4, take a look. It's also on PC, so have a look there as well. I think most people will be, as I was, frankly quite surprised at how good it was.
I'll check that out actually. Seems it's free, yeah.
Let me know and I'll jump on with you because it is truly like genuinely good. I mean, if my circle of friends all had PlayStation, I'm sure I'd play it a lot more. But that's the clincher at the moment. So yeah, but it's good, surprisingly good, really.
All right, yeah, I'll get on that. That was probably the only free-to-play game I haven't downloaded on there. So yeah, why not? All right. My number 5 then is again it's Nidhogg, a game that I just can't really get enough of, and I'm desperate to play with real human beings. The more you play, the more you realise the online is kind of fucked. It quite often does the Battlefield 4 thing of kicking you out 20 minutes into a match, which is actually quite crushing. Especially when you have some true epics on this, and just being booted out mercilessly like that is hard to take. It doesn't feel. I don't feel as aggrieved when it happens because this is clearly made by a couple of people as opposed to an enormous studio. It's when it happens on Battlefield, I should say. But yeah, it is a bit of a pain in the arse, and I do think I said this last week. There is a kind of it's a part of the game, but I guess you could kind of call it an exploit, where people, once they jump over you and they start running, it can be very difficult to stop them, and it's just kind of a crappy way to win. And especially if you can get all the way to the right, say you're moving to the right and you're getting close to victory, they get one kill and then they just jump over you and get 3 screens back before you get a chance to fence them properly again. That's a bit annoying. But honourable players don't do that. They'll stand and fight, and that's where the game is absolute magic. And I want to play more of this. I want to play this game, Samurai Gun. Have you heard of that?
No.
That just got a 9 on Eurogamer, and I've been hearing stuff about that. That is a game where, very similar. I think I haven't played it, but how it seems to work is, again, 2 like spritey characters. I think you have like 3 bullets and a sword, and once you're out of bullets, you're out of bullets. So you're battling each other like that, and every time you get a kill, it does, like in One Finger Death Punch where the lighting changes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That's supposed to be an absolute meister as well. So I'm all for this resurgence in killer offline multiplayer games, competitive games that don't require huge amounts of time to learn. Just get straight in there. All for that.
Strange that such similar sounding games are coming out so close to each other.
Yeah, because there's that Barry Ball as well, which I know Midnight Resistance are putting on an event around that game in February. I don't know the exact dates. I'll shout about it next week. But have you heard about that one?
Dave Turner talked about it.
Of course he did, yeah. There's some sort of cross between a beat 'em up and volleyball or something. That looks fun as fuck as well. I've not played that. So, yeah, I don't know. It just seems to be a small movement in that world at the moment, but those games are fun.
Is Barry Bill actually going to come out?
Yeah, that's part of the Sports Friends thing that's coming out on PlayStation soon. So there's that and a bunch of other games on there. It's supposed to be good.
Okay. Oh, good. Cool. That's good news. All right. Okay, my number 4 is DMC Devil May Cry on the PlayStation 3. I have one of the original Fat Boy PlayStation 3s, and PlayStation Plus has just turned over. So as of yesterday, I think it's Metro Last Light and Bioshock Infinite. I probably won't. But the problem with having such a small hard drive is that I have to delete everything. I've since discovered that I don't have to delete it because it's small enough to keep that and Metro on my hard drive. But anyway, I've been playing, continuing with it. Every time I stop playing it, I like it more than I did before. I just keep liking it more and more and more. Games this good don't come out very often. And I've just been, this is my third, I think it's my third, maybe my fourth. I think it's my third playthrough. And I'm just, there's still things that I forgot happened. I've just unlocked Devil Trigger, and I was like, God, I forgot. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It's a glorious box of treats. And I absolutely love the way it looks. I've just done that, the level where you're sprinting through a nightclub, and the equalizer traffic lines are throbbing on the outside.
One of the best levels.
It's ridiculous. And then you fight that grotesque, deformed baby, and he's got that umbilical cord with his mum on the end of it, and he's sucking him. I mean, truly, disgusting, but brilliantly so. I can't remember who asked. I think around the time when we did our end of the year show, a listener I think asked said it's not going to be like Game X, is it? Where the sort of difficulty spikes and the ridiculously hard bosses. The bosses in DMC are not easy, but they're as fun as the rest of the game. They've got that balance perfectly right. You know what you're doing. they're not a walkover, but they're some of the best boss battles ever, to be honest. If I could change any one thing about the game, and it would only be one thing, it would be that I'd make the sort of gold keys and the lost souls, the sort of the essentially the collectibles, easier to come by, only because it's one of the very rare games that I feel the need to get 100%, like 100 trophies or 100 gamer score or whatever. Because there are a handful of games, and when they come along, if I drop dead tomorrow, someone would look at my my trophies or my games and be like, oh, you fucking love DMC. And it's like, yes, I did. The things that I've got all achievements on 360, I think are. Anyway, I'd like to be able to do that, but they're just a little bit. It involves a little bit too much sort of grinding and playing more than once and all that stuff. Maybe one day down the road. But anyway, it's an incredible game. Just I love it so much.
Yeah, a lot of it you do have to be on like a New Game Plus because you need the I can't remember what they're called, the kind of yank and fly across the devil air or whatever, I can't remember what they're called, to be able to get them on the early levels. So yeah.
Well, maybe one day. I like the idea of having that. What have you ever got? Have you even once got like full trophies or?
No.
Not once.
No. I don't care about that stuff at all. It doesn't interest me in the slightest. It
doesn't interest me. But if I think about the ones that I've got, they kind of summarise what I like about games. One of them's Rock Band Blitz. One of them's Far Cry 3, and one of them is 50 Cent Blood in the Sand. I think those are the only three. I'm just like, those three summarise me to a degree, I think. And DMC would be a great addition, but I don't think it's going to happen unless I. But I don't want to rule it out because I'm still enjoying it so very much on the third playthrough or whatever. Hell of a game, just unbelievably good.
No doubt, yeah. I keep hoping one day they'll just announce a sequel and it's going to be fine, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, me neither.
Okay, my number 3 then. My number 4 is a game on PlayStation Vita called Slugs, which came out this week. I'd never heard of it. Saw it was £1.99 and had a quick look on the PlayStation Store, I should say, to see what it was, and it said like 80s style side-scrolling shooter roguelike, and I was like, yeah, I'll buy that straight away. That sounds good. It is that, but it's not. I mean, it was £2, so it's not amazing. You play as a boxy little guy or girl. I think he's called Johnny, I've forgotten already, and she's called Gun Chick, and you just go from left to right shooting things. There's a weird cover mechanic where you can hide behind a crate and kind of shoot over it, but I mean it's the most rudimentary thing in the world. Every level has a bunch of little, they call them beacons, but they're basically castles. You go through the door at the bottom and you appear at the top, stand there for a second, and then they fall down. The idea being to kill all the beacons in every level, but you can't help but do that really, and try and stay alive. It's sort of like one of those games that has one life and then it's permanent death and it's different every time, but it's not really that different every time. It's kind of like you can go into buildings and there'll be different things inside them and you get a few different funny weapons, but it felt like a lot of the levels were the same every single time, which was disappointing when it said it was a roguelike, because it's not really. It just has a few random elements in there. It's all right. The music's kind of cool. You can imagine what it is, that kind of retro tunage, though they always tend to be quite good. It's fine. I mean, it wasn't hugely expensive, and it's always nice to support stuff like this, but it didn't feel that nice in the hands. A game like that needs to feel fucking amazing if it's going to be as simple as this. And there's like a microscopic delay in moving and jumping. It doesn't cause you to die or anything like that, but it just doesn't feel as nice. A game like Super Crate Box, for example, which is similar in the fact that you're just a small block moving about, that game is so responsive that it ends up sort of elevating itself beyond what it is, because it just feels so nice to play. This doesn't feel hugely nice to play, which is disappointing. And it's very like you go and shoot, enemies just pour out. They come out of helicopters and just pour at you. Everything's just a block, and you can see the bullets coming at you. But a lot of the time, you can't really do anything to dodge them. They just kind of hit you, and then you shoot them and get life back. There's not a lot of, a game like Bleed, for example. There's so much you can do to avoid getting hit. Here, you can jump, but I don't know. It all feels a bit arbitrary. It's fine. I'd probably, it's like a 5 out of 10 game. They can't all be classics. These games that keep coming out, but it's good effort. But I won't go back to it. I don't think. Gunslugs.
Why is it called Gunslugs?
I don't know. But bullets.
Bullets. Yeah. Gunslugs. That sounds really tedious.
It's all right. It's quite fun, but it's. Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be something really cool, and it just wasn't.
Is it an exclusive?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I believe so, but I don't know.
All right. Okay, sounds rubbish. Well, my number 3 is Need for Speed Rivals on the Xbox One.
Okay.
I've been playing it with a friend of mine because, I've moved from the PlayStation 4 version across. It makes more sense now. I've played it a bit more, but I have to say it's a bit of a shell. It's fun, but really quite hollow. And multiplayer, multiplayer just is a...
Yeah.
I mean, it's great on the one hand because whenever you're playing it, other players are there, and you can they can whiz past you in their own chase, and if people in your world are cops, they can sort of develop vendettas against you, and they're just hassling you the whole time. But if you want to set a playlist with a friend, you can't.
No.
And it's nightmarish to coordinate anyway because if you set a meeting point, most of the time you're already in a pursuit, or it doesn't make any sense. And if you look at the map, you can't tell. You can see where the other players are, but it doesn't tell you who's a cop and who's a racer. So it's ingeniously stupid, is the way I described it to a friend of mine the other day. I like the game. When you're actually in there and it's firing on all cylinders and your heat level's going up and you're finding it hard not to take on sort of stupid challenges, because that's the other thing. Like SSX, that it's taken. There's an element of gambling to it. So. When you're a racer, you have to keep banking the XP you earn, and it's really hard to resist. You could have a heat level of 6, and the cops are chasing you down. Your car could be fucked, and you have to bank it because if you wreck your car, you lose all your XP. But then another car will pull out in front of you, and it will come up head to head, and you just think, "Fuck it, I can squeeze this one in before getting the car back." And it's really when the game's doing that. And there's other players flying around and choppers are overhead throwing debris everywhere and the music's banging. It's thrilling. It's so good. But it's wafer thin. There's nothing to it really. It's smoke and mirrors. And the billboards and the jumps and stuff from Most Wanted. I loved nothing more. Me and my girlfriend for months, every Sunday we used to just play that together online, just going around the world finding stuff. It was so fun. I understand this is a different game, but it feels like half a game. I think you said something along those lines, didn't you, when you played it at Christmas?
Yeah, the point that I keep coming back to on this one is it feels like they had all these ideas and they just realised within enough time that there was no way they were going to get anywhere near what they actually wanted to make. So they just cut it short and made what was there work, as well as it possibly could, which is why the game's fun. But you definitely need more players in that world. 6 players in that world. It just feels that you can play it for 2 hours and not see anybody, and you're still having fun. But when you can't play proper multiplayer, and you have to question what's going on, it feels like it was built for at least 12, if not 18. Yeah, and then it would be quite something. But it's. I understand the constraints of trying to get something done for next gen launch and all that sort of stuff, and. I'd be lying if I said that I haven't had a lot of fun playing it, but have you had the host migration thing, though?
Yes, I didn't realise. I thought it had its own servers, and it doesn't. No. That's amazing. terrible.
Yeah, that's wank.
You can be in, I was in the middle of an amazing run. I ticked all the boxes on the speed list, and I was like right at the end of it, and then bang, host migration. I was like, what is this? With the fucking, God. Really, that's really not on. I just was quite surprised that was the case. But it's just when it's really working, I love it. But it's not as good as Most Wanted or Hot Pursuit. It's better than the Run, obviously, but what isn't? And the dumbness is really. I mentioned last week and the week before. I think the dumb cutscenes are lobotomized. The game. Who wrote those? They're not just pandering to 13-year-old boys. They're pandering to 13-year-old shithead boys because those fucking pontifications about how bad they are. And there was actually one of the cutscenes that happened to me yesterday, I think. The cutscene started with a female news anchor reading out a news bulletin. She was like, one of the police is in a really bad way in hospital after clashing with one of the races. And I was like, why are you making this real? Why are you creating a scenario where somebody's in hospital because of something that I'm supposed to have done? I'm just like, I don't. It's strip all of that stuff out of it, for God's sake. I mean, it really is fucking moronic. And infuriatingly so. But the game, I'm going to keep playing it because it's so good when it's on form. But it is, a bit of a shell. Bit empty.
Completely agree with everything you say. Yeah. All right, my number 3 then is Cat Basket.
Oh God.
It's Cat Basket on the phone. I'm not going to pretend I played it for hours because it's been a busy week, but I certainly played a good old chunk of Cat Basket. Kept me going on a plane, kept me going a little bit during a bit of quiet time on holiday and beforehand. You're quite right. The old woman is hideous.
Yeah,
truly
really.
Nightmarish. The whole game's quite nightmarish, actually. I can imagine this being a nightmare that you have. It's a good game, though. Definitely a good game. The systems work really well, and I love the fact that the little cats that you're collecting have physics. If you didn't hear Chet talk about it last week, you play as a old woman holding a basket on top of a giant cat in between 2 skyscrapers. Cats fall down the screen and you have to tilt the thing to catch them in the basket. Dogs also fall down, and then you have to press the screen. She'll upturn the basket. There'll be spikes on the bottom and you kill the dogs like that. Simple systems, but the fact that they have nice little physics engine going on there where it's basically like basketball. If you clip the edge, it'll bounce back up, or if you can sort of be half in and half out when you're catching things, or you want to try and get stuff in like a swish, like a basketball swish, and that's actually quite satisfying to do. It's just a really well-designed game. It's very good. Good phone game. Good fun. Yeah, nightmarish woman. Terrifying. Very good, solid game. I don't really have anything more to add to it than what you said, but it's good. Well done. Yeah. Well done, those people. I was harsh on it.
Basket. Yeah, and it's free.
Exactly. Then the only concessions seem to be pop-up adverts in between every couple of goes that you can just get rid of quite easily. So you can't complain about that, really.
No, you can't. Cat Basket. I've been playing it, but it's not on my list.
Does that become a problem for you, that game?
No, it's just the fact that I've got a very leery girlfriend who thinks she's the best player ever at it, and I can't get a high score without it being trounced about. Even when she's at work, she's like, "I've just beat your score." I'm like, "What? Go back to work, you." So that's going to go on for the foreseeable future, which is great. But anyway, it's free. Download it. Cat Basket. It's good. My number 2 is Battlefield 4 on the Xbox One. I won't talk very much about it. I've been playing it a hell of a lot over the past week, and it is starting to come together. And it's kind of sad, really, because me and my friends and I played it over the weekend, and we've got to a point where we didn't just have one great game, we had a stretch of great games on different game types, and nothing fucked up. And now that we can do what we used to do, which is of an evening have a series of amazing games, it's it feels like this should have been DICE's finest hour. It should have been their crowning achievement, and I don't know if there's anything they can do now to make it that. I don't think can it ever be that, or can it? I don't know.
I don't think it can, to be honest. No. I mean, it's just it's been burned. It's burned you too many times.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, when it works, it's so good. I don't know. I mean, 2 months down the line, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if people are still furious about this. They should be, and I am still angry about it because this is. We've not been compensated in any. I'm not one of those fucking people who's like, I want something because you fucking. But they did sell something that was broken, and they kind of hid behind social media and kind of pretended that everything was all right for a while, for too long, until they were sort of forced to face up to it. But anyway, it's working now, or it's working. There's a semblance of it almost working perfectly. A new patch actually went live earlier today, so I played a couple of hours earlier, and everything seems fine, but the sound is fucked on Team Deathmatch. So apparently they know about this. When you join a new game, the sound is completely dead, and it will keep repeating the music from the end of the round. I'd rather that than it not work.
Yeah.
Yeah, aside from that, we've been playing a lot. We've got to stop playing Team Deathmatch. That's why it's come at such a great time that the other game types are now working, because Team Deathmatch has got to the point that when me and my friends are playing, it's not uncommon for us to play one game, and at the end of the game, the entire other team will leave, because we've just got the perfect lockdown routine for every single map now. And I feel bad for those guys because we really do school. We just
Fuck them.
yeah.
They came to play.
Yeah, it's true, but I mean, we are unstoppable. When we're on a roof, the roof.
The
we
roof?
keep calling it. It's a running joke. We keep calling the maps the roof, two roofs for the price of one roof. Yeah, they've all got nicknames because we always find a rooftop, and then we sort of claim all the entrances, and we've got one of every class there, and we just fucking school anybody. But anyway, yeah. There's also, if you're interested in batters, which hopefully somebody is. There's a new glitch video that I put on our YouTube channel where there's this terrible glitch in the new Metro, but blah blah. It's regardless of showing you how to do something, it's strangely beautiful to look at. I really love looking at it because the game breaks and I'm standing on top of the map and you can see the whole game at points and you can see all of these people running around. It looks amazing. So it's just the game broken, but I think it's quite appealing to look at. But yeah, Battlefield 4, whatever.
Yeah, I meant to play it this week, but just didn't have time. But yeah, I do fancy it. But it's just hard when all you lot aren't there. I feel lonely.
Well, if you get an Xbox One, you should.
To be fair, when's Titanfall out? It's out in like 5 weeks. Yeah, so I'll have one before then. But will I pay £50, £60 for Battlefield? The answer is no.
Premium again.
Oh, I haven't paid for that at all. But yeah,
well,
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Because everyone's going to be playing Titanfall anyway. What am I talking about? All right, my number 2 this week is I've gone back to NBA 2K14, which is a marvellous piece of work on PlayStation 4. Absolutely marvellous. I've talked about it before, obviously. But I think I kind of need to reiterate the point. The My Career mode on NBA 2K14 is an absolutely marvellous RPG. It's fucking fantastic. Imagine a game that borrows from stuff like Mass Effect and other RPGs with dialogue trees. It does so in a way that's a little bit hokey, but entirely forgivable and very, very endearing. But the battle system, the equivalent of the battle system, is like can't even think of the word. It's so much better, much, much, much better than any other battle system in any RPG because it's the best sports game ever made. I'd probably say that's the fact. You know, instead of a turn-based battle or whatever it is, you've got this unbelievably good sports game that completely caters for the fact you're playing as one player, which is just a testament to how good that AI is as much as anything else, because you can play any sports game as one player. It's not a difficult thing to do, I'm sure, in terms of just the raw programming of doing that, but you need your teammates to be good enough to make it fun or believable or anything like that. Whereas visual concepts in 2K, they just... You feel like... I mean, I feel like I'm just playing in the NBA, and that's what you're supposed to feel like. I feel like I'm this guy playing in the NBA. I wish I hadn't made myself my real-life height because I'm way too small to be in the NBA, even though I'm reasonably tall. But apart from that, I love it. I can't wait to the end of the season. I'm going to try and get a trade to a better team. It's all stuff that you could say this about other sports games, the same mode, and I've played those modes in other sports games. I played them in NHL. I've played them in FIFA. I've tried to play it in Pro Evo, which is completely unplayable. And they're not that fun. The first Be a Pro I did plenty of on FIFA when it first came out, but even after a while, you're just kind of passing it to a guy, getting it back, passing to another guy, getting it back, scoring. You don't really feel there's only a few positions you can play where it's worth it. There's no point playing in defence, for example. But here, I just feel like I'm playing matches, and the presentation massively helps with that. There's post-match interviews with real voices. It's fucking crazy. I don't know how much someone would get out of it if they really didn't like basketball. This mode I'm talking about, I'm sure they'd enjoy the main game because it's so fun. But as someone who does, I can't vouch for someone who doesn't. But like I say, I've been tempted to pitch an article as the best RPG of 2013, the NBA 2K14, but I just haven't yet.
Yeah, well, you should. I'm just going to have to buy it.
Yeah. But it is all about that mode.
But I mean, it's fucking great in 2-player
Oh
online.
yeah, no doubt. But that mode's something special.
Shit. Yeah. It is. I mean, it is a wonderful. That series is just. Yeah, it's great. I need to pick it up. Has there been any sort of press about? I mean, I won't get it on it. Actually, no, I won't. I mean, obviously, if you've got it on PS4, I'd pick it up on that. But has there been any talk about the difference between the Xbox and the PS4?
They're both really, really good. Yeah, there's not been one of those dramas about this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't overestimate how good it looks. Yeah. It's for me the best looking game on those systems so far. Especially when viewed from the TV angle, which you don't view the micro mode from, but the normal 2-player angle, it just looks real.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck, I have to pick that game up big time. Big style. That's a keeper. That's like a,
Yeah, it just sits on my hard drive as well because it was a download. And, well worth... because I managed to get it cheap. You remember? I bought the...
Special deal.
Yeah. But yeah, a corker. But what's great is some people. I've been having some feedback on the Twitter that some people have gone and picked it up after me talking about it, and I really hope they're enjoying it. Please let me know if you are, because I'm glad people seem to be on board. It helps when it looks that good.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. All right then. Well, my number one is Grand Theft Auto 5.
No.
More specifically, Grand Theft Auto Online. I wrote an article for NowGamer.com, which is up. It's up now. It's called. I think it's called GTA Online's Best User-Created Jobs. I'm pretty sure that's the title of it. I tweeted it the other day. Basically, for the best part of 2 days, there's a creation tool on there now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't. Some of the game types you can't. Basically, at the moment, you can only create races and death matches. But there's over 1 million have been published. So there's a fuckload on there. First of all, this is just an observation, but it is almost impossible to take a bad screenshot of Grand Theft Auto Online. I had to take screenshots for the article, and I ended up using almost every one that I took because they just look. I don't know what it is. There's always stuff going on. It just lends itself very well to those images. So yeah, the best part of 2 days trawling through all of these maps, and the thing that it reminded me is that Grand Theft Auto is a lot of things, but when it's at its best, it's thigh-slappingly funny. So a lot, obviously, if I was trawling through these, occasionally at random, some sort of based on ratings, but a lot of them were just piss takes and half finished like doodles, as you'd expect. People abandoning stuff that they just started pissing, or just to publish something they were pissing around with. And there are verified ones now. Every month, Rockstar put some of the unverified ones, the user-created ones, and they verify them, and then they're in rotation. So there's some that are in rotation now. The best ones, I'm just going to briefly go through some of the best ones if you're still playing GTA Online. I mean, when they're verified, they go live on both formats, but when they're unverified, they stay on that format. So I've playing on Xbox 360, but of the verified ones, there's two. There's one called Craftenberg Drifting Race, which you just stick the rain on. It's short laps, a really well-designed track, and you just drift around. It's quite nice. I'm surprised it got verified, but it's good. It's solid. The best one of the verified ones is called Four-Way Madness, which is just basically a destruction derby in midair, because there's this intersection with 4 ramps, and you just basically do this figure of 8 over these, and there's explosives below the ramps. And is it 16 players in one game on GTA? Yeah, I think that's right. It's hilarious because you're constantly seeing these cars whiz past in front of you. I mean, it's on. I mean, if you go into a multiplayer match, it'll probably be in the rotation because it's so popular. Every time you get it, people will vote to do it again and again and again. But of the ones that I found myself that are unverified at this point, first off, Nuketown Reloaded, which is a remake of Nuketown from Call of Duty Black Ops. Really impressive. I mean, you can't access the houses, obviously, and you can get into the cars, so you can move the scenery about. And they keep the body armor and the health behind the 2 houses on either side. So at first it's a bit of it's a bit pensive, but it's really good, really impressive. I mean, it looks like Nuketown. Another one is called Bar Fight, which has a bit of the Hunger Games about it because you all start outside Trevor's bar, in the middle of the desert. Yeah. And you all sprint inside, and next to the bar there's like a knife, there's a couple of baseball bats, and then there's just a massive brawl. So it's just a race to go and get those weapons. But periodically, a hand grenade will spawn, And when you're all in the bar having this mass punch-up, it's funny because you see everyone spot it one by one, and everyone sprints over, and then the guy grabs it, the guy gets it first, and everyone's like, whoa, everyone backtracks and is brawling, trying to get out the door before he throws the grenade. I mean, truly uproariously funny, that one. Terminal Terror, again, I mean, all of these ones that I'm recommending are just hilarious. Terminal Terror, there's a thin walkway floating above the airport, and there's hardly any cover. So basically what it consists of is you spawning, scrambling to try and find cover whilst under fire. But if you turn and shoot someone, if they see you turn and shoot, often they'll just fall off. So it's people trying to stay on this really thin, rickety structure whilst all... I mean, it's, again, really, really, really amusing. Motocross Deathmatch. There's a load of ramps in the desert, and you're all on motorbikes, and you've all got sticky bombs. And me and the guys I was playing with were just pissing around. Like, we were doing jousting. One guy got off his bike when we were playing chicken. He was throwing all of his sticky bombs while we were trying to run into him. Battlefield style. There's loads of possibilities. Just an incredibly fun mode. But the best map that I played, and if Rockstar don't verify this, there's something very wrong, because it got played for the best part of an hour over and over and over again. It's called The Amazing Cage Fight. Maze is in capitals, AMAZEING. The Amazing Cage Fight. What this is you all start on the catwalk underneath the chopper landing pad at the top of the Maze Bank building, one of the tallest buildings, and you've got no weapons. So it's two teams, so it's just a massive punch-up. When everyone's done, the winning team, the one with the most people left, go up to the landing pads, and everyone else spawns down on the ground where there's choppers. And then you ascend up to the building in choppers. And what I didn't realise, because I was on the losing team the first time, so we started at the bottom, there's a fuckload of cars on the roof. So all you see is these cars flying off, trying to hit the choppers. And you get extra points for getting road kills with the choppers. So as soon as they spawn, they're scrambling to try and get in more cars while you try and knock them with the choppers. I mean, if it went on for too long, I mean, I think you should set it at 15 kills, because after all the cars are gone, it just turns into a standard deathmatch and it's very boring. But for those like opening 5 minutes, it's hilarious, the stuff that happens. I mean, it's just a fucking great mode. Rockstar needs to make sure that they verify that one, because it's great. But by and large, the quality of the design maps I saw was really surprising. Really surprising.
That sounds great.
It really is. That the Amazing Cage Fight. It was not, didn't stop being funny the 10th time I played it. Truly. So if you're on 360 and you're still playing Grand Theft Auto, check it out.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, I'm going to go back to it now. You said all that.
All right, sweet. Well, yeah, because some of them are really, really terrific. Really terrific.
And check out that article on Now Gamer.
Now Gamer, yeah.
Okay. Number one then, same as last week. In fact, OlliOlli on PlayStation Vita, a game that I played a fair amount of last week and have played probably double the amount of now. And just like Velocity, it's one of those games that gets better and better and better the more you play it, and the more you kind of strip more layers off it, and you realise how much there is in there in terms of depth. It's just got a super, super high skill ceiling, and I've not got anywhere near it yet. Going through the amateur levels, getting 5 stars on all of them, which you do by completing the 5 different challenges it asks you to do. That unlocks the pro levels, and then at first you're trying to beat those and then trying to do the 5 challenges on those. They're completely different levels to the amateur levels. They're just set in the same place. It does some really clever things with some of the challenges as well. I like it when, I mean, Velocity does this in a certain degree, but it asks you to play the game completely differently. So kind of like how some achievements work, but this is specifically tied into the game. So there'll be stuff like you'll have a level where it starts off standard stuff and there's like a big grind down some steps, and you just go off and do the level as you normally would by grinding everything. But here, one of the challenges would be get 160 meters into the level without grinding. So you suddenly have to take perfectly timed jumps over huge flights of steps and make sure you keep your pace up and stuff like that. And it just encourages you, it forces you, in fact, to play the game in completely different ways and see the levels in completely different ways. All the while you're doing all of this, you're just getting better and your skills getting better. Not through stats or anything like that, just through your hands and your dexterity, which is, I've always preferred that anyway. Just a kind of meticulously well-designed game. Issues that I had with it at first of I had some problems thinking that the way some of the tricks wasn't working properly, or there was a bit of some of the controls weren't responsive. None of that's the case. It's just you just get better at it, and you realise that that's you being shit with your hands rather than the game. It's none of it's the game's fault. Again, the only real fault I have with the game is the lack of leaderboards. It tracks your score and gives you a position in the world, but there's no leaderboards, and it's a game built, almost purpose-built for leaderboards, especially with the daily grind mode. And having no leaderboards on that, it almost completely defeats the purpose. The daily grind, if you don't know, is the daily challenge where it will give you a spot, as they call it. You can practice it as many goes as you want, but you only get one real go to put your score on. I think I got number 3 in the world at one point when I tried one in the morning. I can't remember now, but that was a good feeling. But yeah, just a fantastic video game. Another cracker on the Vita. They've just announced the new Vita, haven't they? The slim one's going to be more expensive than the current one. I don't know, but any reason to get one of those things in your hand is definitely worth it. And as far as I'm concerned, there are a fuck ton of good, cheap games on there that... You could have never, when they first announced that console, you'd have never predicted that all the best games on it would be 2D. Yeah. But that's just the way it's going now, and they all pop on that screen. They can all sit there on your memory card, even if you haven't got that big a memory card, because I think this game's like 100 meg or something. Just an absolute cracker, really. I think it costs $6.99. Well worth it.
Yeah. I haven't played it this week, but it's... Within an hour, I knew it was. It's in that same space as Velocity and Hotline Miami. Maybe not in terms of overall sort of quality.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it quite as good as them. Yeah.
No. But as something that's going to sit on my Vita and just the fact that it's there is going to be so great, because I will be playing that for as long as I've got the Vita, I'm sure. But have they not spoken? Have they not said anything about the lack of leaderboards? Are they going to sort it out?
I've not heard anything. No. I hope so. I really do.
Yeah, that is. I mean, when I played the game, I thought, okay, well, they're blatantly going to patch that in the next week or so, because that's an incredibly odd thing to have left out of it. How well is it sold? Is it done all right?
I don't know, but it's one of those situations where if I was just to listen to my own Twitter feed, then it would have been it's a stormer, because loads of people are talking about it, but that doesn't actually mean anything. I hope it's done well. It's certainly been pushed quite hard by Sony, who talked about it a lot. I don't know is the honest answer, but I think it's elevated itself above a lot of those types of games.
Yeah, really, very, very good. I'll play more of it in the next couple of weeks. Have you heard about this bundle? I don't know whether this is an old bundle or a new bundle, but it's with a Vita. I don't know whether it's the old one or the new one, and you get 10 games with it, including Thomas Was Alone, Hotline Miami, a lot of other sort of indie games.
Yeah, I don't know the exact details of the bundle. I heard something mentioned today, but I was just too busy today to even pay attention to what it was. But yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah, Vita. The Vita really is. Yeah,
it's I'm not the first person to have said it, but I think it's the best place for indie games, the best place to play them, because I know I've got a PC, and there is something I feel a little bit weird. This PC was very expensive, and it's quite powerful, and playing 2D games on it feels just kind of a bit weird. It doesn't feel they always feel like console games, and that is you can't get more of a console than that thing. It's got every type of console control you could ever want. Yeah, indeed. So indeed. I rate it.
The Vita or the...
Both. OlliOlli and Vita. What a combo.
Yeah, good combi. Very true. Very true. Okay, well, that is us done. Thank you very much for listening. Episode 98. We've got 2 more and then we're 100 years old. Isn't that weird?
That's fucking weird. Who would have ever thought that? Yeah,
exactly. But thanks very much for listening. Twitter, Facebook. No, don't bother with Facebook. The usual. The YouTube channel at Chet, YouTube/Chet and John. Chet and John on YouTube. Anyway, that's it. But we thank you for listening.
Yeah, cheers.
And we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Goodbye.
So, first of all, thanks for still listening past the credits and whatever Chet's put at the end of this podcast. Credits? There's no credits. Anyway, so we've been talking, and obviously we're hitting episode 100 in a couple of episodes' time, and there's no point beating around the bush. So it can be very hard for us to find 10 games to do every week. So we've talked about it plenty of times over the amount of time we've been doing this podcast, whether to cut the number down. I think we'd always still keep the format because I think that's crucial of having the lists and it building up to number one. But we between us have talked about cutting it down to 5 and concentrating the time that we do spend on talking about those games, going into more depth and making sure we've played those games for a longer amount of time. But we're unsure. We kind of flip back and forth on it because obviously the format's been one of the things that have got people into the podcast. Chet said it himself, I think, that you've said that some of the games that have ended up in your top 20 of the year you would have never played had it not been for 10 games. So we kind of wanted to put it out to you guys and just see what you think. We're not just going to cut the podcast in half or anything like that. If we did do it, it would be same length as it is now, but just going into more detail on 5 games gives us a bit more opportunity to give those games a bit more time, and also, less of a stretch on our end. But yeah, we don't want to make a concrete decision either way right now.
Yeah, I mean, just any suggestions, whether you think that it's great as it is, or whether you think it would be ruined, or you think it would be better if it was just 5. We really appreciate your feedback. I mean, I'm torn because it happens to me a lot less than it does John. But like last week, John had to play something just to fit it in the podcast. I mean, luckily that doesn't happen very often, but the fact that he's just playing something to fit it in kind of sort of ruins the point of the podcast a little bit. I mean, it does happen, not like I said, not very much, but I don't know. I'm torn, and yeah, like John said, some of the games I play, I discover by accident because I'm searching for stuff to add for the podcast. So I end up, I don't know. Basically, if you think the formula could be sort of honed, or if you think it's perfect as it is, whatever, we'd just love to know. I mean, maybe if we knock it down to 7 or something, I don't know. Maybe just, I don't know.
Yeah, come and have a chat with us, and yeah, we'd love to know what you think. Absolutely.
Yeah, just direct it at Chet and John's Twitter, or if you don't use Twitter, then just the Facebook or email, whatever. There's email addresses on the site, etc. But we'd really appreciate feedback, and then we'll sort of decide what to do.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, thanks very much. We appreciate it in advance. Get me.
Was there something else we were supposed to talk about?
I don't think so. Was there?
You said we'll bring that up as well at the public service thing.
Oh, fucking hell.
Can you remember what it was?
Nope. Oh, God, what was it?
There was something though, wasn't there? I'm not making it up.
No, there was. Fucking
Has
hell.
it still
what
got
was
a conversation saved from before?
Well, were you recording it as well?
What?
What, what on your end?
No. From our chat, our Google chat.
Was that where it happened?
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It's just saying I can email you.
Fuck. I can't remember.
What was I talking about?
Something to do with the podcast. 100 years old. The format.
Taking breaks.
Oh, that's right. Exactly right. Yeah, okay. That's the other thing. When we started doing the show, we really liked the idea of being there every Friday. So, we're always there. Once a week. I like that. I've always liked that in shows I've listened to. But at the same time, there are shows that I've stopped listening to because I've had enough of those guys. So would you think it would be a good idea if we did it every 2 weeks? Would that be a terrible thing? Would it be a better thing? I don't know. And we kept the format. Or we didn't keep the format. I don't know.
Yeah, it's another question. That's not us being lazy. We're not going to just... If you want it every week, then, that's amazing that anybody would want to listen to our podcast. So, yeah, there's no worries there. But we did sort of realise that even weekly radio shows, often the host will take a break for 2 or 3 weeks and get different hosts in, things like that. So it is kind of crazy. There's a reason we've overtaken a lot of more established and longer running podcasts in episode numbers in a short space of time, because we haven't stopped. So, just give us a shout. Let us know what you think. I think we are planning on just trying to mix things up anyway. It's been 100 soon. So, yeah, just interested to hear what you think. Absolutely. All right, I'll stop saying that now.
Yeah, really interested. Facebook, Twitter, email, whatever. We appreciate it.
Right.
Goodbye.
Those.
Bye.